Good morning, welcome back to the Dan Goes Outdoors YouTube channel. If you're new around here, have a think about subscribing. I do almost weekly videos, so it's well worth pressing that button. Anyway, I'm back out at it. I'm on a local river and I'm just doing a bit of trotting today. Now, I'm not the best trotter, but I'm no plonker. So I can't give many tips, but I'm going to give it a go. I do it every now and again because recently I've been struggling. You all saw that trip to the Trent and I just want to say thank you for the support on that video. A lot of you guys were like, keep going Dan, you're doing the right thing, just stick at it mate, and I know I am. But yeah, it's really nice to hear all that from you guys, so thank you so much. Yeah, I've got a float rod, a barbel rod, I've got some maggots with me. That's the only bait I bought is some maggots. I've juiced them up with the pepper squid spray as well. Don't know if it'll make a difference, but you know, can't hurt my chances. So I'm gonna get going now, feel my way in, hopefully we'll catch some fish. Well, it's raining, no surprises there. The rain's gonna be on and off all morning, but the river's finding down a little, so I'm well happy with that. Got a pretty basic float rig on, I'll show you all that later. Now, I'm no expert at this, but some things in life you don't exactly have to be a genius to work out. And I catch my fair share of fish doing it. I don't plumb the depth to begin with, I just take an educated guess. Let the float go down. If it drags under, bring it up a bit. If it doesn't, move it down a bit. And the first few trots will just be me getting a feel for the swim, dialing it in and seeing what happens. In this rain, I'm really struggling to trot effectively. Really, I ought to be stood up and trotting it long downstream, feeding every cast, all that, but I just can't do it from under the brolly. So for now I'm going to put the feeder out. It'll act a little bit like a bait dropper and keep the swim going, and I've always got a chance of a big fish because you know me, I'm fishing it specimen style, big feeder, lead clip, size 10 up with a few maggots on it, and I'll leave it out there and just hope that maybe a barbel or a chub comes along, and then in an hour or two when it stops raining I can get back on the trotting. Lads, we're into a decent fish on the feeder rod. Oh. Oh God. What have we got here? Oh. Must be a barbel or a chub this. Got my drag so light because for the gear I'm using I've got quite a light hook link on, it's about £8. They told me, use a maggot feeder. They were right. Actually a fair bit of weight there. Barbel. Come on. Nearly went in. Yes, January barbel for Dan Goes Outdoors. So happy with that. That's amazing. Switched to a maggot feeder just because it's raining. I couldn't float fish. And the rod tip was just banging away. I was typically looking at my phone, such a millennial. And yeah, caught it. That's amazing. Just resting in the net now. I'll get everything set up. I'll have a good look at it. Lovely little fish. Still proper lively this fish, but I'm saying that's a good thing. Lovely little barbel. No need to weigh this one. What are we looking at there? £3, maybe 4. But in January, just remember that, January, after all these floods, there's a little barbel. I'm over the moon. No need to go to a Trent. Just catch them in Yorkshire. Amazing. Thank you to all the guys who told me, get on a maggot feeder. And I did. Look at that, only took 20 minutes if that. Wow. Really green across the back, this one. Interesting. Right, couple of still photos for Instagram and get this one back. So even though this fish was tossing and turning on the mat, still going to give it a while in the net, facing upstream, upright, help it recover and then let it go. Shot off that one. Since I've just caught that fish, it's only really drizzling now. I'll show you the rig before I put the brolly back up. So I've got my normal lead clip there with quite a big maggot feeder on 2.5 ounces just to hold bottom out there. And I don't fill that up all the way, I fill it up about 2/3 because I don't need all that full of maggots. And I like a lead clip because it's nice and safe. The fish hook themselves, and when I'm moving swims, I can take this feeder off and it's not banging against my rod. And I can also swap that or put a lead on if I want to without having to cut and tie the whole rig. Hook link is about 2 or 3 foot of 8-pound match anglers material. It's quite stretchy, this one, so it absorbs a lot of the lunges of big fish, so for a match type material it's still pretty strong. And then the hook is a size 10, like a wide gape specimen angler's hook, which is quite big and a bit thick for fishing maggots, but I'll show you a way of getting around that. So what I do is I take my hook and I thread a maggot onto it, so I go through the fat end and out through the bottom. It doesn't matter if you burst a maggot doing this, because it's purely there to hide the hook. There we go. So you see now, it's almost like the hook is a maggot. The fish won't notice it at all. And then I'll just put 2 or 3 more maggots on there. There we go, lovely little hook bait. The fish more or less hook themselves on this rig, so that'll go out there and sit until a big fish comes along. Even if little fish peck away at those maggots that are just hanging off it, you've still got the one on the hook, so you've still got a chance of a bite. Okay, all that's left to do is fill up that feeder and put it back near those trees where I got that fish. Brilliant. Brightening up now a little, but we've still got about an hour before we're out of the danger zone, so a couple more casts of the feeder, then we'll get the trotting rod back out. Well, if this scene right now doesn't represent how my winter's been going, I don't know what does. Sat in the rain, in the mud, by a rising river, catching not a lot. I'm so relieved we have caught, but I would like another one. Hopefully when this clears we can get the trotting rod going again, but for now I'm happy to sit with that feeder out. I just hope the river doesn't shoot up like I know it can round here. Man. Annoyingly, it looks like this rain's going to continue for longer than originally forecast. So I'm just going to have to put up with it, get some trotting done, and just hope that maybe a big fish takes this rig instead. I would actually quite like something different, maybe a nice roach, chub, even something like a grayling, but we'll see what happens. Well, I've been trotting away here for about 30-40 minutes and not a lot's happened, so I'm going to move about 50 yards downstream. It's an area where it's a bit glassy on the water. I think the trotting will be a little bit easier, and I've not caught anything here, so maybe there's some fish further down. Here I am, only maybe 50 yards further downstream, but the stretch looks nicer here and I think I can trot it a little bit easier. I can also stand and really mend that line a lot better. Although this spot is really easy to fish, I've got my whole setup here, I can feed and cast and everything really easily. Just not getting any bites. And I fail to believe that the only fish in this whole stretch is one little barbel. So I think I'm going to give it a few more shots here and then maybe head a little bit further downstream. You guessed it. Of course, I ended up moving swims. I just can't sit in a swim for hours with nothing happening. I can't do it to myself. So I've head downstream here. It's a little bit slower, but it's sort of the end of a run that I've been fishing today. So maybe as my maggots have worked their way down, fish have collected here. We'll give it a go. I've got about an hour or so. Maybe just one last fish. That's all I want now. Well, struggling a bit here as well. I feel like I'm trotting really well. I'm getting it 50 yards even, in a perfectly straight line, nice and steady. But nah, no bites. Well, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to risk one last move. I mean, I've fished 4 swims today, but again, there's nothing going on here. There's a couple of swims right near my car that I quite fancy. So I'm going to pack away, shoot down there really quickly. Well, I'm in my last swim here and I'm going to fish for feeder in a sort of go big or go home type thing, or in my case, go big and then go home. It's a bit tight for fishing a float and it's going to be dark in about 15-20 minutes anyway, so I don't want to not be able to see my float and then struggle to get my feeder out. I'm going to get it all settled now and just hope I get one last big fish. I keep having to remind myself that it is January, this is what happens this time of year, and I should be happy with that one barbel, which I really am. That's amazing. It's a struggle, just got to stick with it. Right, I'm going to sign off now. Well, I've still got a bit of light. Soon it's going to be too dark to film, but I'm going to carry on fishing until it gets dark. Just hope I get that last minute barbel. But anyway, yeah, I shouldn't feel as despondent as I do. I'm really happy to have caught that fish. It's just that I caught it so early in the day. I then thought to myself, I'm on for some good fishing here. And then I got no more bites. I was fishing really well. I was trotting great. My casting on the feeder was really good. But yeah, no more bites. So just really happy I caught that one fish. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Got one last fish on, lads. Not sure how much you'll see of it. Well, it's worth hanging on. I don't know what this is. I can't see it. Mate. It's a clonking great trout. Come on. There we go, my last fish of the day. I'm now completely blind by that light, but a lovely trout, a brown trout. It's got a touch of a sea trout about it, but I'm pretty sure it's a brown. I just can't really tell in the darkness. And people get a bit bent out of shape about coarse fishermen catching trout, but trust me, my hands are soaking wet. I've even got a hooking mat out for it. No one does that for a trout. Yeah, lovely, nice fish that one. Let's put it back before all the fly fishermen get on at me. Wonderful. Yeah, cheers for watching. I'll see you again soon.